As we learned in our last drag strip test, the torque converter's no good, so I gotta get it out. Taking it out from underneath, well, that's not an option here. I can do it, I've done it before, but it's a nightmare. It's actually easier to pull the engine, but how? There's no room for an engine crane here anywhere. Well, I'm gonna show you. I don't recommend you do this, but it's how I do it. There's the secret. Here's the engine removal process shot in time-lapse scope set to 80s new wave royalty-free music, I guess. Anyway, here's me taking the headers off. Headers on a small block Ford are a nightmare. Anybody who's ever had to do it will definitely be able to relate. But I did finally get them out. And the nice thing with the individual tubes is I could move them out of the way, and actually I left most of the headers in. The collector stayed on the car, actually. So, and here I'm draining the radiator, and that stuff that looks like it came out of Bishop from Aliens. That's actually the coolant with some anti-corrosion stuff in there. And of course, there's some transmission fluid from the cooler. The radiator's now pulled. So I got to pull the upper intake manifold. That's the other thing. So that's where my lift plate goes. So that was a fairly straightforward thing. And you caught a glimpse of all the port work done there. It's a lot of aluminum was removed out of that thing. So there the camera fell very slowly, so slowly I didn't notice it, but I thought it looked cool, so I left it in. Of course, pulled the alternator. And now I start removing the actual bell housing bolts. They're actually 7/16, which is not a terribly common size, but you can get a lot of them from the top, surprisingly. And from underneath, of course, we took those are the engine mount bolts, the motor mount bolts, and there's the starter, of course. And here are the driver's side bell housing bolts. What's left of them anyway. And then there are 3 torque converter bolts. This is how you mate a Ford engine and a GM transmission. If you ever wondered, that's how. And then I just used that hoist and just pull the thing out. It's pretty simple. I mean, there's really not much to it. It works beautifully. You know, of course, the hoist is attached to landscaping timber up in the attic that spans several joists, so it's not going anywhere. Or rafters, I guess they're called in the ceiling. I don't know. But you know, every time I shoot a video and do something borderline dangerous, something really bad happens, and this was no exception. I almost lost my hand. That's no joke. You know, I've pulled the engine like this at least 4 or 5 times and never had a problem. So I had to look at the strap and find out, hey, what gives? Ha! No pun intended. Get it? And for whatever reason, the strap seems to be faded in several areas, which is odd because it never sees daylight. There's no windows there, and the garage is actually very rarely open because our cat likes to hang out in there. So I actually grabbed the strap, and I was able to rip it just with my hands. Now, this is a 600-pound rated strap. You can see it's actually just falling apart. So let me see if I can find a faded yellowed area and see if I can actually rip it on camera. Watch, I won't be able to. There we go. Alright, took a few tries, but you should not be able to do that with a 600-pound load rated strap. So clearly something made this thing let go, and I almost lost my hand over it. The video was shot over a span of 4 days. I know it's a short video, but it was actually a good amount of work with all the time lapses and everything. But this was the scariest part. I actually counted the number of frames I had to get my hand out, and it was like 12 frames had it not hit the engine. And of course, just the very, very tip of the hood hit the engine. And since, of course, there's already damage to the paint on the hood, I was a little bit annoyed. It didn't do anything to the engine because it just caught the corner of the ARP stud. But that little trim piece at the front definitely took a little bit of damage. But I happen to have an extra one. Plus, I went on eBay just because you do that sort of thing when something like this happens. And I found another nose piece in excellent condition for like 20 some odd bucks shipped. So not a big deal. Plus, I've been planning on repainting the hood anyway. And, you know, this is just going to motivate it a little further. But I'm glad I didn't lose my hands. Now back to the previously recorded program, already in progress. All right, so now all that's left to do is to put this thing up on its legs. Let's weigh it, too. I've always wondered what it weighs. like them apples. 234.5 and 215.6. There you have it. 450 pounds worth of Ford. A lot of that has to do with the fact this is a Dart Sportsman Iron Eagle block. I know people don't think such a thing exists, but there it is. So all of this is for one reason and one reason only. That's to get that damn thing out. Let's get it out. That's heavy. I got it. Okay. And that's it. That's how you pull an engine out of a car and when your garage is too small for an engine hoist. It sucks, but it's done. So, yeah, do me a favor because I'm sweating for your entertainment. Give me a thumbs up, click the like button, subscribe, and we're gonna ship that torque converter off, and I'll catch you all in the next one.